This is the Bible of the electrogenic cell. It's not just the best book ever written on the subject, it's the only book ever written on this subject. Brought to you by supporters of Christ.
Read 50 books, that's a master's degree. Write 50 more, pastors can't pass me. Real 150 stacking thoughts like towers. Write them all down on my pen holds power. Shelf life of a scholar, built like a fortress. Let up bounce spines, my mind endorses. Chasing knowledge, no time for the chatter. Flipping through pages where the ink gets fatter. Read 200 books to be a PhD. Write 200 more and you can be like me. Pages turn slow, wisdom burns deep. The more you write, the less you sleep. Margins filled with scribbles, thoughts in the ether. Annotations glow like the lace with fever. 1,000 hours logged, the grind's my feature. Bookmark pain, every line's a preacher. Quotes hit harder than a summer storm. Paragraph sharps in a scissor form. I've seen more spines than a surgeon's floor. Write 200 books and you'll see even more. Read 200 books to be a PhD. Write 200 more and you can be like me. Turn the page, let the ink run free. Stack them high, that's legacy. Source material for the comedic wave function. A bigger discovery than brain function. Quantum mechanics and kinetic cosmology. Put the icon in iconography. Smash the wall between religion and science. I acted defiance against institutional tyrants. But Kemet didn't have the equations. See, that's why we must thank all Masons for passing down a tradition philosophically. All equations are derived from geometry. We don't need the numbers, we had the shapes. The pyramids say pound for pound, we had the weights. Read 200 books to be a PhD. Write 200 more and you can be like me. Pages turn slow, wisdom burns deep. The more you write, the less you sleep. Yeah. Stacking bricks, calculus and algebra. More than nostalgia, bruh. Accurate reckoning for inquiring into things. And for knowing all that exists for kings. Sound cocky to realize the way mathematical papyrus medicine to the slave. A mentally free pill, limitless free will. Have you feeling yourself like a E-pill? Read 200 books to be a PhD. Write 200 more and you can be like me. Pages turn slow, wisdom burns deep. The more you write, the less you sleep. Use this book to fight your professors. Force them to rewrite history, debunking their lectures. Cyclic energy, matter conversion, field emergence. Taught as a person, propagating luminous motion. Transmission through horrors, hosting a light ocean. Field-based physics, the books say what is it? A legend, ain't it? Just buried that defies all critiques. The doctor with the gold teeth need a Nobel Prize for fundamentally reshaping how we see our lives. Use this book to fight your professors. Force them to rewrite history, debunking their lectures. Cyclic energy, matter conversion. Field emergence, taught as a person, propagating luminous motion. Transmission through horrors, hosting a light ocean. Field-based physics, the books say what is it? A legend, ain't it? Cause of worry that defies all critiques. The doctor with the gold teeth need a Nobel Prize for fundamentally reshaping how we see our life. Read 200 books to be a PhD. Write 200 more and you can be like me. Pages turn slow, wisdom burns deep. The more you write, the less you sleep. We in the era of equations and Kindle. This discovery takes us back to books and symbols. Source material for the comedic wave function. redefine the lineage of knowledge assumption. Kemet didn't teach mythology. Kemet theology created quantum physiology. I was born for the long war, to write books and do songs for the most talented conductor, encore. God is music, yeah. The octave is the quantum field, yeah. Kepler is a musician, where you think Jesus was fishing. Fishing in none is bigger than pun, get it? Fishing in none is bigger than pun, yeah. The good scarab swam in the ocean. Without the science, Christians don't know what they promoting, what they holding, what they defending, yeah. The truth beginning to ending, yeah. Testing ain't bluffing, the source material under comedic wave function, yeah. Read 200 books to be a PhD. Write 200 more and you can be like me. Pages turn slow, wisdom burns deep. The more you write, the less you sleep, yeah. Read 50 books, that's a master's degree. Write 50 more, pastors can't pass me. Read 150, stacking thoughts like towers. Write them all down, now my pen holds power. Shelf life of a scholar, built like a fortress. Leather-bound spines, my mind endorses. Chasing knowledge, no time for the chatter. Flipping through pages while the ink gets fatter. Read 200 books to be a PhD. Write 200 more and you can be like me. Pages turn slow, wisdom burns deep. The more you write, the less you sleep. Margins filled with scribbles, thoughts in the ether. Annotations glow like they're laced with fever. 1,000 hours logged up, grinds my feature. Bookmark pain, every line's a preacher. Quotes hit harder than a summer storm. Paragraph sharp, sentences reform.
FanDuel Casino's exclusive.
Nobody is watching on X. Nobody's watching on X. I didn't share it to X. At least not as a live video. I shared the link. I shared the link on X so that we can get actual people as opposed to sharing the live on X, which is what I usually do. I shared the link on X. So if we get one person or 1,000 people from X, those will actually be people watching class. All right. But we will not waste any time. We will get right into the class. We'll get right to work. All right. Week 11, day 3. I can only hope and pray that we have actually been opening these books besides on the live stream. I can only hope and pray that y'all are actually opening these books and reading these books and studying these books and everything in these books. Go to bed with them. Sleep with them. Get in the bathtub with them. Put them in your purses and your book bags. Walk around with them. Yeah, flash them around. Live with the material. Live with the material. Right? You should be obsessed with the material. So you're somewhere talking about the material, pulling up stuff on your phone, flashing it on people. Okay. Ferroptosis. Ferroptosis, the iron conversation. Ferroptosis is a regulated form of cell death driven by iron overload and lipid peroxidation. It differs from apoptosis or necrosis by targeting the redox balance of the cell and collapsing it through chemical implosion. Now, we have had a substantial amount of time between classes, right? And we have had a lot of discussions between classes. And because my primary focus and priority is these classes, even when I'm on another platform, when I'm doing a debate, when I'm doing whatever I'm doing, it is still melanin versus diabetes. That is still the number one most important thing. So when you get your hands on the material, that material is always supposed to upgrade, change, and provide more depth and more clarity and be able to see at a different level. So when I say you don't see with your eyes or hear with your ears, you see and you hear with your mind, the more you're learning, the more you need to be able to pierce deeper into what it is that we're going through, right? So when we have these conversations about iron, right? Magnetism, right? Electron behavior, right? When we pull up and we see here, let me go back up, right? When we see here targeting redox balance in the cell, right? The entire science of redox is driven by Schrodinger's equations, or at least what we know now, right? So when I go through that timeline is important because we have to keep referring back to that timeline so you can add everything that you're learning, what you're seeing, what you're hearing, and catalog that, right? Because on a microcosm, you are society. You are society at large. You're society at large. And not only are you society at large, but you're also the medical system. You're also the health system, right? So think of the health system beginning in 1765 with the first medical school. Think of 1765 as birth, right? Think of that as birth. Think of the medical system as a person, right? Birth, just a baby, don't know anything, right? The baby is growing. The baby is learning, right? It's in its youth. It's in its young adult stage. It's getting into maturity, right? So when we look at the timeline, you need to look at certain events like, okay, 1765 is birth, but it's not to the 1900s that we start to reach in adulthood, right? Till we get a rough idea of nutrition and what it means to breathe, right? What the concept of breathing actually is, because we hadn't understood it. Think about that. All of the world's religions are centered around breathing, respiration. Even the people that are not religious, but they tell you they're spiritual because they're doing some form of meditation, um, breathing, right? Sport, breathing, right? Um, so it's a very fundamental aspect of everyday life and health, but nobody understood it at all. Don't let anybody lie to you. It's not possible to understand breathing without the understanding of pigments, without the understanding of atoms. And even though we may have identified atoms, we could not understand atoms because we didn't know what atoms were made of. When atoms were identified, they were described as the smallest fundamental unit of matter. So science didn't think there was anything smaller than an atom. That's why atoms were singled out, because atom is the smallest thing that there is, right? And then we learned that an atom is not not the smallest thing that there is. It is the smallest unit of functional kinetic and potential energy, right? And so all of this is unfolding in the 1900s, right? We're learning about respiration over here. We're learning about metabolism over here. We're learning about nutrition in this space. We're learning about cells in that space. And all of these loose sciences are just coming into maturity throughout the 1900s. Um, we begin understanding DNA in the 1950s and 60s, but it's not until 10 years ago that we figure out there's no such thing as junk DNA. All of that Darwin science has to be thrown out, right? So that debate had a wide variety of consequences and concepts that we need in what we're doing in building our school and our studies. Although my competition in that debate did not allow me to get to some of the more complex ideas, I didn't let that stop me, which is the reason why, we put out 4 books during that debate as opposed to 1 during this debate with Jabari. Because I assumed that Jabari would be more of a more competition, and I would get to really bring out a lot of concepts in the debate going back and forth, which wound up not happening. But I knew in advance that Unks, so all of the material that I knew that I wouldn't use, but was very important to the conversation became the Black's Anatomy book series. The biggest thing to the mature stage, because the 1900s just is adulthood, not necessarily maturity, because physical maturity happens before mental maturity, right? So physical maturity of this baby that was born in 1765 would be the 1900s, right? That's physical maturity. Overall, though, we're somewhere like in our early 20s still in terms of this baby. The baby is somewhere in his early 20s. It's a college kid. It's a college kid. It's learned a lot of things, but it hasn't had the experience required to synthesize all of that knowledge into wisdom. And that doesn't happen until the different sciences come together. All of the different schools of thought begin to put their stuff together. And so that hasn't really happened on a large scale yet. It's happening slowly but surely in isolated pockets, but it hasn't happened all together yet. Everything hasn't been rewritten outside of what we're doing, which is a part of the reason why we are turning Grey's Anatomy on top of its head, and we have replaced Grey's Anatomy with Black's Anatomy. New book just arrived. Yo, y'all are trolling. Y'all are trolling. Because Amazon definitely slapped me upside the head and was like, yeah, January 11th. Mad disrespectful. When I seen that, I was like, yeah, I should have dropped this on Barnes and Noble. But anyway, one of the most important things, though, that we're now bringing into the conversation, right, is Schrodinger's equations. Schrodinger's equations. And Schrodinger's equations basically just, that's a bad word. There's no such thing as just. These are probably some of the most impactful, most important concepts in science. So you can't say just. But Schrodinger's equations describe wave function, right? Describe wave function. So there is no limit to the application and importance of understanding wave functions, how waves work, right? And I kind of been prepping you guys for this for like the last, I want to say 2 years. Whenever we've brought up this conversation of Kemet versus modern science, I always say the biggest difference between the Kemetic view and today's view is that modern science, although modern science acknowledges that, wave particle duality, right? that when we get to fundamental units of energy, they can be described as particles or waves, right? So modern science acknowledges that. The thing is, modern science doesn't work from that fundamental standpoint. They just deal with the world as particles. So they have that. That's written. That is a thing. Wave particle duality. Got it. But everything after the world of and the discussion of quantum mechanics is only viewed from the standpoint of particles. And Kemet is totally the opposite. Kemet is totally the opposite. Kemet is primarily wave driven. Everything in the Kemetic standpoint was always wave based, right? Everything begins with the wave. Everything begins with the wave. Yeah, everything. I'm trying to think of something outside of that. No, everything begins with the wave, because even society is civilized. Like everything is based on the. Once you come out of cosmology, right, which is where science, everyday science, all levels in Kemet was developed from the wave concept. Even your calendars, which is based on a combination of astronomy and the Nile. So the astronomy comes out of a wave concept, and then even on the physical, terrestrial, like it's based on the Nile. So yeah, so on all levels, everything was based on the science of waves, which until now we didn't understand that there was anything more than that, right? Because obviously they're talking about waves, they mean water. So for a very long time, that's what the waves of the hieroglyph, the wave was translated to, is water, right? Because we didn't have any other concept of that. Now there's another concept of wave, and we know that's a fundamental reality of everything. There's another conversation. Anyway, without getting too deep into that, my point is, when it comes to life, when it comes to health, when it comes to biochemistry, that is the fundamental science of how the body works. Traveling waves, standing waves, right? Period. There's levels to the understanding though, right? You got to get through mechanical waves and electromagnetic waves, right? So we have that. We've discussed that quite a bit. Electromagnetic waves, electricity, magnetism, light. Mechanical waves, right? Pressure, sound, right? Your body's piezoelectric. So mechanical waves, all of the piezoelectric machinery you have in your body, from the collagen to the DNA to your ears, and all of those things run on mechanical waves, right? But those two types of waves, right, have two main forms of behavior, right? Modes, right? You have traveling waves and standing waves, right? So anyway, we would not have the ability to understand mitochondria without these concepts, right? So in order for us to get deep into the information. This is my daughter's album cover, by the way. I know y'all have seen me wearing this shirt so much. I told her that I'm her number one fan. I'm going to wear it until it falls off my body. But yeah, so we got to get into that pocket, right? We got to get into that pocket. So when we're looking at stuff, the more you know, the more you should see. The more you see, the more your ability to reference should expand, right? And you should be able to think and discuss the information on multiple layers, especially our people that are in um, health fields, different type of health fields or whatever you got going on in real life. It will make the information, things you're seeing and hearing, much easier to catch, right? Especially the equipment, because that is a whole nother business. And that business is primarily driven by wave function, right? So everybody in hospitals, they have salesmen that come to hospitals all the time. And they are looking to sell the hospitals and or the doctors new equipment, new machines, new inventions to make surgeries, um, patient monitoring, just every aspect, prescription handling, managing, all those things much easier, right? Not to mention AI, right? AI is completely built out of understanding the relationship of waves in terms of energy and information carrying, right? No, she hasn't dropped the album yet, so don't say that out loud. The album has not completely. It's like the Drake album. We know the Drake album is coming. We just don't know where it actually is, or when it's actually coming, or what's actually on it. So her album is very much like the Drake album. Although Drake's will probably be out before hers. Yeah, but I don't care if she drops 1,000,000 albums or no albums. I'd still be bopping my head like, yo, she killed it. Anyway, so I just want you to know that redox, right? I want you to have a a deeper context for redox, right? I've been trying to yell to high heaven since Dr. Sebi was still alive about the concept of redox. Hmm. All right. Iron over. Oh, so I know y'all remember a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if it was here or in Medicine. Somebody asked me about some herbal salesman on the internet. He will remain nameless, who was telling people that parasites are eating your blood cells and causing the iron to go into your tissue and blah 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 blah. We had a whole conversation about that. So, mind you, this is in your textbook. If you don't have this book, people, if you don't have this book, go and get this book. And if you don't have this book, go and get this book. Trying to find the book cover, but my search bar is not behaving accordingly. Read 200 books to be. Write 200 books and you can be like me. Where is? Oh, here you go, right here. Bam. right? So go and get this book. If you do not have this book, it's very important. We are in week 11. This is week 11, day 3 right now. Some people have went through the entire book already. They are ready to turn in their essay. Some people have not gone through even the first half of the book. Some people have gone through the first half, but they have not submitted their midterm essay, right? So people are basically all over the place. People are basically all over the place, which is cool. It's a lot to learn, a little bit of time, right? A lot to learn, a little bit of time. I get it. But it is epic. It is an epic book. There's no course written like it. There's no course written like it. Because we have the class going on, but it's not from a first person perspective. You're actually viewing the class. You're viewing the class. Right now, some people are like, well, why did you do it that way? Well, because we got something going on with rich abs. This is a part of a whole full blown epic storyline. So if you're not hip to the whole entire rich abs universe, it is more epic than Star Trek. Yeah, there are more episodes and spin-offs than Star Trek. All right, anyway. So iron overload, particularly free iron, not safely stored in ferritin or transported by transferrin, causes ferroptosis, right? And we talked about ferroptosis on another occasion when we discussed what is that concentrated milk pill they're selling? And we were talking about transepidermal water loss. Remember? Transepidermal water loss, TEWL, right? And folks try to steal the whole drip. They try to steal our whole drip, melanin versus diabetes. They took our whole melanin versus diabetes blueprint and created a name for it called transepidermal water loss and put our whole blueprint up underneath there. So all chronic and metabolic illnesses are starting with the skin and the pigment being the centerpiece of the whole story. That's the transepidermal water loss story, right? The pigment in the skin maintains the youth and the strength of the skin. And when the skin gets compromised, you get leaking, you get transepidermal water loss. You start losing large amounts of water through the skin, and that creates inflammation and ties up the immune system. And then that has a trickle down effect to the blood, the circulatory system, and the heart, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. You're trying to steal the whole drip. Anyway, we discussed ferroptosis also in those conversations. All right. Polyunsaturated fatty acids oxidize easily, especially arachidonic acid and mitochondrial and ER membranes. Weak antioxidant defenses, specifically glutathione depletion and GPX4 inactivation, allow unchecked lipid reactive oxygen species accumulation, right? That is reactive oxygen species accumulation. How clean cells prevent ferroptosis. Ferritin binds and stores excess iron to prevent reactive oxygen species generation, right? So this is free radicals whenever you see this. But you also have two other main categories. You have reactive carbon species and reactive nitrogen species. Those three make up the main three categories of free radicals. Transferrin ensures iron delivery only where needed. Antioxidants like glutathione, vitamin E, CoQ10, and exogenous polyphenols neutralize lipid radicals. Now, inside the plant genetics book, right? Inside the plant genetics book, we have a series of, let me pull up the plant genetics book real quick, just so I could give you an idea, because I know we talked about like some of the more sciencey stuff, and we got into let me go. So we go through these major categories over and over again. Right? We go through these major categories over and over again. And the idea is to get more, to get a deeper understanding every time. Right? So let me see. Let me give y'all a section. Try to find a dope section. Jesus. Okay, here's a dope section. Here's a dope section. All right, so we dive a little deeper into phenolics, right? And we basically give you all of the chemistry, which makes up the genetics, right? The genetics regulate the chemistry. The chemistry is based on the genetics, right? So we go into phenolics, which are aromatic derivatives of light energy from sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide. Now, again, this is important because this is the main thing in plants that we need. This is the main thing, right? There's no pigments without these guys. No pigments, no brain function. No pigments, no breathing, no heart function. So no brain function, no heart function. That's pretty much it, right? So we walk it down. All phenolic compounds trace back to photosynthesis, the process that converts radiant photons into reduced carbon. And the chloroplasts absorb light, splits water, generating ATP and NADPH. Carbon dioxide enters the Calvin-Benson cycle and becomes G3P. Multiple G3P molecules condense to form hexose sugars such as glucose and fructose. So we walk down the whole process, right? We walk down the whole process. And yeah, so this is just a small section on phenolics, but we have a variety of sections on phenolics. And then we go into similar breakdowns on how they work in the human body, right? But I just want you guys to see how thorough we approached the plant genetics book, right? So what I wanted to do with that is make sense out of everything that you're already getting in the Ebers Papyrus books, right? To tie them up, tie up all the Ebers Papyrus books. Because in the Ebers Papyrus books, you get more of the traditional view on what you're looking for with a herb book, right? You want to match plants to problems. And you want to know how it is that the plant solves the problem, right? And we go into pretty good depth into the science and the compounds and blah, 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 but we didn't really go genetics, chemistry. So I wanted to go genetics, chemistry, and give you the unbeatable. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is literally how light, water, and air, they do this. Then from there, that thing does this, and this does this, and this turns into this. And then when you turn that into a sandwich or a salad, it's going to do this, and then this, and then that. And then this is what will happen to your blood pressure or your whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, the whole process. Right. So that there's nothing that we're missing. Right. So you do have the you have the Ebers Papers books, which most of you should have, right? I know some of you are like, wait a minute, what are the Ebers Papers books? Really quick, so we could go back to the lessons and get back where we're supposed to be. The Ebers Papers books are our exploration to uncover one of history's mysteries. What are you talking about, Doc? Well, when you go through the Kemetic medical papyri and the associated texts, the herbal, like apothecary in Kemet, is supposed to be somewhere around 900 to 1,000 different plants that they had cultivated to use medicinally. When you go on the internet, you only find little shabby lists of about 10 to 20 different super popular herbs that everybody already knows about. You never find the list. You never find the 1,000 herbs. You never find that. I have spent quite a bit of time looking for them. I bought bunches of books thinking it's going to be in there. I spent hours in libraries thinking the herbs are going to be in there. You don't find anything. You don't find anything. You got to go literally and match stuff off the walls to actual plants, and it's some meticulous work. But what actually wound up happening is what I found out is that a lot of those plants, we do know where they are. We do know where they are. Those plants and the information associated with them is basically pharmakia, right? So you go to the drugstore, typically, that's where most of the world's pharmaceutical drugs, I mean, that's where they started anyway. That was the boost. That was how, medicine started, messing with those plants. And then obviously to make sure that the value of having said information goes up exponentially, you have to make it a commodity, which means you have to get rid of all traces of said information so that only the few have the information. And if the few have the information is valuable because the few can do what they want with the information, monetize it, make products, do whatever with the information. So that's where most of the pharmaceutical drugs come from. As of the last 5 or 10 years, no, maybe even longer than that, they've been expanding outside that space into the synthetic drug space. But there was a time where 98% of pharmaceutical drugs were plant-based. Now you have a lot more synthetic stuff. So the number is probably somewhere down closer to like 60% or 70%. Because when you deal with plants, things are limited because they are grown naturally. So making synthetic analogs is much more profitable. You can maintain the potency, maintain the supply. There's a lot of control you have on synthetic things that you don't with natural resources. So yeah, there's that, right? But we've been tracking stuff down, and that's our Ebers Papyrus book series. Our Ebers Papyrus book series is tracking down those plants and breaking them down and the information and blah 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 blah, getting that knowledge to the people. Because in Kemet, they were not just using local plants, they were actually traveling the world and getting plants from all over the world. So there is no limit. Like you might read somewhere, like, oh, yeah, well, this grows naturally here or that grows naturally here. They were getting stuff from all over the world. All over the world. That was one of the primary reasons for traveling. One of the primary reasons for traveling was new plants. New plants. New plants. Plants was everything. Plants still are everything. Right? So you have to understand the level of importance of plants. Because some of y'all be like, I don't think that they were traveling, risking their lives for new plants. Yes, they were. Because they believed that the Neteru manifests through plants. So that's another part of the story of the reason why Osiris is green. Right? Because the primary entry for the gods, the Neteru, into people and life begins at the bottom of the food chain or at the top of the food chain, depending on how you look at it. Right? So if you believe that, you know, we're in a carnivore society, so of course plants are at the bottom of the food chain, right? And meat is at the top of the food chain. But if we're doing the knowledge correctly, plants are at the top of the food chain because nothing can live without it. And the further you get away from plants, the lower the nutrition value is because it's watered down, right? The primary source of nutrition is the plants. So when you eat the animal has absorbed and used some of that nutrition, and you eat the animal and you get whatever is left, what the animal hasn't used or stored in their skin, their flesh, right? And then when you eat the animal that eats the animal, right? When you eat the animal that eats the plants, that's one thing. When you eat the animal that eats an animal, now it's stepped on twice, right? Now it's stepped on twice. If you understand stepped on, right? Now, if you eat the animal, the big animal that eats the medium animal that eats the small animal that eats the plants, you're getting further and further and further away from the actual source of the nutrition. Thank the Netchers, thank the Elohim, thank God, Yahweh, Jesus, everybody for Peyton. Everybody feel free to follow suit. And Harwin, please don't start no trouble. We had such a long discussion about the coke leaves. But those are all facts. They were traveling the world looking for new plants. That was primary everything, which is the reason why one of the bloodiest, nastiest wars that is never discussed in the history of the world is the spice trade. A lot of people have been confused about the spice trade, and they believe because the name spice, right? So it allows people to believe that these people fought a deadly war because they wanted to flavor their food. Like, no, they was fighting a war to season their food. No, they were not. The spice trade was a war over plants. It was a war over herbs, but it was because they understood that this was the difference between having a 30-year lifespan and a 80-year lifespan. Like these people were living 2 to 3 times as long because they had a wide variety of plants that they were putting in their food, regardless to whether they were eating meat or not. Everything was loaded with the plants. And so that's where the practice of seasoning food comes from, right? The practice of seasoning food comes from always having the plants. You need to have the plants. You eliminate a wide variety of illnesses and all kinds of problems by having the plants in there. Boom. All right. All right. Close this down. All right. So here we go. I got too many things open on my screen. Okay. All right. That was crazy. Wow. We just jumped to week 2. Okay, here we go. All right, so we got this, right? Antioxidants like glutathione, vitamin E, CoQ10, exogenous polyphenols neutralize lipid radicals, right? Along with lipid radicals, you have to worry about um, peroxisomes getting out of control, which are little peroxide producing organelles. They look like mitochondria, but they're not. They're the opposite of mitochondria. They're the ops, right? So that's one of the reasons why you need glutathione, which is sulfur-based antioxidant, cysteine-based antioxidants. Mitochondria channel iron into ATP production via the electron transport chain, keeping iron busy and non-reactive. Autophagy clears out damaged mitochondria and lipid damaged structures, preventing buildup. Fasting, breath work, movement, and sleep activate these cleaning mechanisms daily. Modern ferroptosis triggers seed oils, right? High omega 6s, right? High omega 6s. Why? Because you don't have to think, you don't have to try to overload your body on omega 6. Omega 3, on the other hand, you have to make an effort to get omega 3s in. And once the omega 6s outweigh the omega 3s, you are in trouble, right? Too much heme iron, right? Too much heme iron. The same way people are confused about protein, and America gets more protein than they need. People are getting too much iron from too much red meat, right? People are taking the wrong cues, like, oh, my feet are cold. Oh, my hands are cold. I need some iron. And they're having, pork chops or steak, or, they're going to get tacos with beef in it or burritos with beef in it and all kinds of different things. And then they're adding low quality iron supplements to their red meat in their diet, which is insanity, just in a word. Right? So if you're doing red meat, you do not need iron supplements. If you are for some reason low iron, that is a bone marrow, kidney, liver, B vitamin, that is a problem somewhere else. I would not look at iron first. Right? You need to look around. Anyway, low copper, right? Low copper impairs ceruloplasmin function, right? Which is how iron functions. Now, keep in mind, when we go to the periodic table, right? And anytime we talk about periodic table, just keep that wave function in your back pocket, right? But when we go to the periodic table, we know that copper is the electric atom. We know that iron is the magnetic atom. So just always keep in your mind that copper and iron coming together represent electricity and magnetism coming together on some level. And you will never be led astray. Almost never. You will almost never be led astray. Right? All right. So, anyway, low copper impairs iron absorption. low glutathione, high sugar. Mitochondrial dysfunction leads to electron transport chain stalling, electron leakage, and fat accumulation. Inactivity, stagnant blood flow, iron sedimentation, and elevated reactive oxygen species, right? But we cannot have inactivity. None of us should experience inactivity, right? None of us should be experiencing inactivity. That should almost like totally impossible for us because 3 to 5 times a day we're doing prayer. We are deep into prayer, right? And let us do the exercise version so people can see. So people can see.
Inky prayer number 2. We give thanks and praise to the Most High God for the divine spark that set our cells into perpetual motion. We give thanks for the magnetism of the Most Holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry boats of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and caves. We give thanks for the ability to drink clean water every 60 minutes, flooding the river of life. We give thanks that sugar has not covered our ferries and turned them into stone. We give thanks that darkness has not covered the riverbanks with calcium and turned them into stone. We give thanks that anger and fear have not turned our almonds bitter, turning our heart to stone. We give thanks for smooth sailing upstream through the valley of death, through the superior vena cava into the right atrium. We give thanks for smooth sailing around the heart through the corona crown, joining the vortex in the right atrium. We give thanks for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave, reflecting on the semi-lunar valves, opening a pathway to the vineyard. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate to the vineyard closes. We give thanks to the Most High God that provides the light and our breath, and the light in our breath. We give thanks for the fine olfactory system that makes our grapes ripe with light. We give thanks for the Jed pillar that provides us with a stable fleet of ferry boats to dock in our vineyard. We give thanks for smooth sailing through the pulmonary vein into the storm of the left atrium. We give thanks for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave, reflecting on the semi-lunar valves, opening a pathway into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter closes. We give thanks for the magnetism of the most holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry boats of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and our caves. Amen.
Oh. Okay. So what was we talking about? Oh, not being not active. Okay. All right. So inactivity, stagnant blood flow, iron sedimentation, elevated reactive. Let me ask y'all a question. Let me see who's alive. Let's see who's alive. How does inactivity cause stagnant blood flow? Come on, who's awake? Who's awake? Who is awake? How does inactivity cause stagnant blood flow? Come on. No circulation of oxygen. No. Poor circulation. But that's what I'm saying. The question is stagnant blood flow. So stagnant blood flow is poor circulation. But I'm saying, how is the circulation, like what's causing it to be poor? Low glucagon, lack of movement, the blood pressure is not pumping blood to transport the oxygen. Okay, that's probably the closest one. Lymphatic system gets clogged. Okay, that's another one. That's like a back end joint though. The lymphatic system getting clogged is like back end, because you know the lymphatic system drains back into the clavicles and right around the clavicles anyway, back in the blood flow and blah blah blah. But no, Peyton, you came close. You're getting away. You're going. Glycation could be it. We talked about it a bunch, but the main book was the Wascepter book. I don't know where it is right now. Books are everywhere in here right now. I have a lot going on. The Wascepter book. System not ready, so you got to get ready. Nope. I appreciate the participation though. Okay, so in the Wascepter book, all right, y'all gonna make me look for this book. And I could tell you without the book, but I would rather go to the actual book, which is probably not going to happen. Yep. Who knows where that book is right now? Okay. But in the Wascepter book is the first book where we really go into detail on. Oh, is that you right there? Is that you right there, baby? No, that is not you. All right, I got excited. Thought I found it. We talk about the actually we talk about it in some of the newer books as well, right? We talk about it in the in a bunch of the newer. I'm tripping. The Wascepter book is the first book, right? And we talk about the myokines, right? That's why it's in the Wascepter book. We talk about the myokines, right? But when we get to starting somewhere around here, right? Starting somewhere around the bioelectricity application book, right? And the glymphatic system book, right? In these books, we start getting into the specifics in terms of blood flow, right? And joules and how much energy is, converted and used and blah, 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 blah. Right. So the concept though is the muscles. It's the muscles. The concept is built around the muscles, right? Your heart is a muscle, right? So contraction and relaxation, right? On a basic level is circulating blood. Well, all of your skeletal muscles function as a secondary heart, but not like individually, kind of like all together, right? And different muscle groups do that on a small level. So every time you exercise a muscle group, that muscle group is promoting blood flow. That muscle group is promoting blood flow. And when you go to the gym or you do your calisthenics at home, that's the reason why you look good in the mirror for the next 20, 30 minutes, right? Because you have that pump, right? You have enhanced the blood flow to whatever target muscle group that you was working. When we do the prayer, we start with the muscles in the feet because we want to send as much blood as possible into the feet. Then we move up from the feet to the upper legs, quads, a little bit of hams, but mostly the quads, glutes, core, upper body, and then we get piezoelectric stimulation for the bones, and by jumping up and down with some jumping jacks. And I know some people are doing modified versions of the prayer when they do it, or whatever the case may be. But your skeletal muscle circulates your blood. So that's the answer I was looking for in terms of inactivity. When you're not using the muscles are not moving the blood, right? That is important. The skeletal muscle acts as its own organ. It acts as its own organ or gland, right? And in the Wasepta book, we were talking about some of the myokines like irisin and some of those other things that muscles actually produce. What else? Myosin, I believe, is adiponectin, and just all of these different chemicals that your muscles produce that give you health and longevity. That's what it is. We were looking at the aorta, aka the Wasepta, in terms of being the fountain of youth, right? Because we had that article primarily that we were going through where they identified 3,000 different proteins and, the difference between the aging body and the youthful body and blah, 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 blah. And we were talking about the muscle contributing myokines and then blood circulation. Yeah. Yeah, y'all can't have the answer now. Y'all too late for the answer now. But I did like the participation. The chat was lit for about 1 minute. The chat was lit for about 90 seconds. All right, ferroptosis and disease. Cancer, ferroptosis resistant tumors persist until lipid peroxidation is induced. Neurodegeneration, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's show iron and puffer accumulation in brain regions. Heart disease. Wait, before we even go to heart disease, only because I just flashed it, I have to pull that back out and flash it again. Because there is this, right? So this is the glymphatic system book. It's kind of over here, but glymphatic is small. You could kind of see the word system here, but you can't see the word glymphatic on top of it. But this picture is my mnemonic for the glymphatic system, right? So you got the brain with the bank, like the memory bank, and then you got the vault, right, which is the value stored from the memory bank is stored in the bank vault, right, which would be the ib, right, the ib, right, the heart, right. But more so in this picture, I'm talking about the ib than heti, right. um but yeah, so this is our glymphatic system book. You need this if you are alive and you're over the age of 30. You have to have this, right? If you have people that you love that are over the age of 50, you have to have this. So if you're in one of those two categories, if you're alive and you're over 30, you have to have this. If you love anyone that's over 50, you have to have this, because everybody is developing Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. Everybody, me and you, everybody. Some of us begin developing Alzheimer's in our teenage years and our 20s. Some of us, those of us that live more, let me say, recluse lifestyles, which does not include me. I'm in the worst group. I totally abused my body. So trust me, when I'm talking about these type of things, do not think that I'm in like the good section, because people discuss things and they always put themselves in the best light. Just know always, I smoked chain smoked cigarettes. I did everything you could do. I was on the other side. Well, not everything. Yeah, I didn't really do like hard drugs, thank God. And I only thank God for that, because my generation, we just, it skipped us. Yeah, for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying? Maybe because I was in it. That's a very arrogant stance, right? My whole generation was spared of hard drugs because God was like, not him. You cannot have him, devil. I got plans for that one. Right. But I don't know. For whatever reason, my generation got skipped. The generation before mine's, crack hit them. Maybe it's because we saw the crackheads. Yeah, maybe it's because we saw the crackheads. Like we're the crack children. Like our parents was on crack. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we probably it just skipped us. But that's what all we had was alcohol, cigarettes, weed. What else was out when I was in my teenage years? Tabs, like little paper tabs you let dissolve on your tongue. Yeah, that's what we had. There was no e-pills, no Molly. Eminem wasn't heard of, so nobody was using like pharmaceutical drug pills. Like Eminem sold the world. Like he's the guy who bring pills into pop culture. But yeah, so we wasn't on anything. We wasn't on pills. We wasn't doing no coke, crack, none of that. Like that skipped us. But cigarettes and alcohol, and you go to a party or something, they might have some tabs floating around. Yeah. But I definitely abused my body as much as my generation could. You know what I'm saying? All of those liquors, like all of those beers that was like came out after like Boys in the Hood, and then they like after like 6 months they would like take them off the market. Yeah, we had all of those. The things that made you violently insane to kill each other. Yeah, we had all those. We had some very interesting evenings in my neighborhood. Some very interesting evenings, including some of the OGs, like totally getting naked in the neighborhood. That's another reason I think that we didn't use hard drugs, because we got to see older people that was on PCP and dust. And we was like, okay, take that off the list of to-do things. Yeah. That did he just take his clothes off? Okay, yeah. So we don't need to try that one. Good on that. So yeah, we kind of got spared just because we may have saw too much stuff. And I think maybe because our generation, right, the people between 45 and 55, I think because we were relatively tame, it got crazy the generation to follow because they saw us and we were like getting drunk and getting high and acting a fool, but we had limits. You know what I'm saying? So then the next generation after us, the people from the 35 to 45, those are the people who came in with e-pills and Molly and prescriptions and all kinds of it got crazy for them. Yeah, they was following Eminem. They went crazy. They was following Eminem. They went crazy. And now the kids is on everything. Now the kids are officially on everything. Even things that were not invented until recently. They're on everything. So it is crazy. Inky is the soul of Osiris, the dope game, and Nefer Ma'at probabilities. Bro, there's no possible way those could be your top 3 book cover designs. That's wow. That is wild. I wouldn't put those together. That is interesting. That is interesting. That is interesting. For those to be your top 4. One of my favorite book covers is, hold on, let me see if it's right around here. I want to finish this class, so I'm not going to spend too much time looking for it, but I always say that to try to psych myself out, knowing that I'm going to keep looking until I find it. Because I got to show it, or it doesn't make sense. I don't know where it is. But one of my favorites, if not my favorite book cover, is the cover with me and Chase on the cover. Right? Me and Chase on the cover like astronauts, and we're inside the body. Right? Who knows what cover book that is? What book cover is that? I know the name. I just don't want to say it. I want to see if y'all know. Because that is a very important book in our whole entire everything. That is a very important book. And this book cover right here is epic. Y'all are trolling. Y'all are trolling. Okay. Let's probably start moving around people. That nothing going on thing. And it smells bad out there. And it smells bad out there. Okay. I cannot find my book. Is that you? How did my book even get way over there? That is crazy. I can't even get to that book right now. All right. Well, at least I know where the book is located. Yo, what is my book doing? Like, how? I don't know how this book got. There are books way over there behind the camera. I will have to totally disrupt this video to get to this book. But The Legend of Wuxia is currently on Amazon. Yo, why are they trolling me? Bam. Yeah, this is officially one of my favorite book covers. Hold on. Listen, blame Peyton if y'all wondering why the class is disturbed and we not finishing the classwork. Just it's Peyton's fault. Blame Peyton. He came with the top album. I said album covers. Peyton came up with this, and because Peyton is the only person with the super chat, yeah, I'm making up excuses. I'm making up excuses. I'm totally making up excuses, but I think this right here is like, this is my favorite book cover. Yeah, because I really thought I was doing something with this. I really thought I was doing something with this book cover. I'm serious. Because I made the, you know what I'm saying? Like I made the body and then I put us in the body. And then I put this screen right here with the magnification so you can see that me and Chase is in the body. So I don't know. I really thought I was doing something with this joint. Yeah, I really thought I was doing something with this book cover. Right. And then I got the me, like the M.E for me, but also Minister Inky. Right. So I really thought I was doing something. So this is probably my favorite book cover. And then of course, I got the pyramids in the background. So I really thought I was doing something with that. Black's Anatomy should be hardcover. Ooh. Black's Anatomy should be hardcover. Hardcover joints be expensive. And time consuming too, because I gotta wrestle with them. Yeah, it don't be easy. It don't be easy. I gotta wrestle with them. I'm not sure. Some books I can't make hardcover. Yeah, when I did the GOAT book, the Soul of Osiris book in hardcover, it was trouble. It was trouble to do the hardcover version because it's not the same. Like when you publish in the books, they have different constraints based on the type of book you're making, right? So like with Amazon, and it's the same, not exactly the same, but all different publishing platforms have these different types of rules, right? So if you do ebook, when you do ebook, ebooks is pretty much unlimited. You can go as crazy as your imagination allows you to go. When you go paperback, you have different limits of amount of paper, right? So based on the glue that they use for the paper, only a certain amount of paper will fit nicely into the book. So there's a limit on the amount of pages depending on the type of paper, how thick each page is. So Amazon gives you an option of 3 different types of pages, types of paper stock. And depending on which type of paper determines how many pages you could get into a book. Then for hard binding, I think there's only 2 options for different types of paper. So you can only have like this. So it's a lot less pages you can have in a hardcover. I don't know. It gets weird. It gets weird. And so you kind of got to like redo the whole book. You know what I'm saying? So it gets a little crazy. Trust me, I would love to have more versions of material out to make more options for people to purchase. Even some of them I would like to have hardcover just for like mementos, like just collector's edition. But it is a headache. Yeah. And I had to look at it like from a time consumption space. You know what I'm saying? Because it's hard to make all these books. You know what I'm saying? Like people think I'm cheating somehow, but it's really time consuming. It's not like a trick to it. The trick is 10 to 15 hours every single day. I'm working on a book. That's it. No trick to it. You know what I'm saying? The same 200 hours that everybody else needs to make a book, I need that same 200 hours. The only difference is I figured that, I can get to that 200-hour mark very shortly by cutting out sleep, not sleeping like everyone else does, and just doing almost nothing else. So there's no clubbing, partying, moving, lots of other things that people do. I don't do. It's just working on another book. And as soon as one is sent to the publisher, the next book is already started with the notes that I did not put into the last book. Yeah, so we just go right into the next one. But yeah, I would like to do some more hardcovers, but it gets crazy. Yeah, that, bro, me too. And I didn't get like the love. So I definitely super appreciate you though, because that is a very exclusive club. That is a very exclusive club. The people who have the hardcover of the GOAT book and the people who bought the original Legend of Wusier book. Yeah. So hopefully I take care of y'all books. Because when something happens to me, or if something, well, it's not really a if. At some point, I will kick the bucket. And these books will be gold. Gold. Especially the plant genetics book. The source material for the kinetic wave function. Ah! Ah! Woo! Yeah, some of these books are going to be crazy. Anyway, some of these books are going to be crazy because they're not really written for now. Some of these, like this book, is not written necessarily for now. This is a future time book. These are future time books. These books like this, these books are for the future. These books aren't even for today. We're creating the future like right now. These books aren't even for now. People don't know what these books are even really fully saying. Another 50 years, 100 years, it'll be like, it'll make way more sense. It'll make way more sense. Like right now, I'm wrestling and fighting with the dinosaurs. I'm wrestling and fighting with the dinosaurs, the Flintstones of teaching. I have to wrestle with them. You know what I'm saying? Primarily because God chose to package these messages in this packaging. The kid from the Bronx with the gold teeth and no college degree. Yeah. So there's that. And that is a huge hurdle we have to jump over. You know what I'm saying? Which is one of the reasons why this past debate was so important. Because that's in the balance. That's one of those things there. Right. But yeah, a lot of these concepts, right? A lot of these concepts, so some of the things people can't understand why having these conversations are even important, right? Because if we understand that when we go back, and I'm about to get back to the information, but I just want to say this. If we understand that when we go back, there's an anthropomorphization of universal forces or energies, right? Which we get later on as God concepts. If we understand what our ancestors thought of as intelligence, right? Because we have this arrogance where we try to put everything the way we think it and see it as what people 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, like, it doesn't go like that. What they saw as the main form of intelligence is simplicity and the ability to self-organize. simplicity and the ability to self-organize. So because energy had the ability to self-organize and create more complex structures, that was intelligence. Period. Right? So we have intelligent energy. These are concepts that modern science is just getting comfortable with the past 50, 60 years. Self-organization and things like that. We still are wrestling with these concepts, right? And definitely, even where understanding is, it's only in a abstract sense. We haven't began to fully map these concepts over into biology yet. We still haven't accepted these concepts in biology, where is the most important place. In fact, they're almost irrelevant outside of biology, right? So, yeah, science has gotten a little crazy. Anyway, back to the main thing. Keeping the main thing the main thing, like LeBron says. All right, so inactivity. Bro, I was trying to listen. That's the cheat code. That's the cheat code. Listen, we doing our own articles. So I hid those books as a hiding place. Those Rich Abs books, I done hid all kinds of papers of ours in those books. Yeah, because people believe they can skip those. So those will just be sitting there. Those will just be sitting there. You know what I'm saying? People are like, wait a minute, what is this? What is this? I thought these were children's. I thought these were books. I thought these were just okay. You know, Dr. Inky is from the Bronx, right? We invented the entendre and metaphor. Anyway, inactivity, stagnant blood flow, because we're not getting the secondary and tertiary push from the skeletal muscle. Obviously, if the blood is stagnant, we have iron sedimentation, elevated reactive oxygen species, etc. All right, ferroptosis and disease, right? We worked our way down to neurodegeneration, and that's kind of where we got off track, talking about Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Heart disease, cardiomyocyte death via iron and reactive oxygen species, which is one of the jobs of cardiomyelanocytes to stop and protect your heart from um, poor iron transportation. Diabetes, iron accelerates AGE formation. Okay, that is not talking about age, right? That is advanced glycation end products. So when you see AGE, all capitals, that is advanced glycation end products. Iron accelerates advanced glycation end product formation, beta cell destruction, and systemic inflammation, right? So remember that your blood has to go everywhere, right? Your blood has to go everywhere. So if you got a lot of wow stuff in your blood, right, that wow stuff is going to go everywhere. It's just that simple, right? It's going to go into all of the organs, all of the tissues. Now, some of the organs and tissues can defend themselves. So free radicals affect different organs and glands differently, right? Kidneys can defend themselves. The liver can defend itself. Um, but everybody, let me think about that. The spleen can defend itself. The spleen doesn't really defend itself. The spleen just has, the spleen is like a military barracks. So there's like a bunch of white blood cells in the spleen. Same thing with the thymus. The thyroid is vulnerable, parathyroid vulnerable. Yeah, pretty much everybody outside of those guys is vulnerable. The heart has a army of cardiac melanocytes in there. The brain has a blood-brain barrier. Okay, so you got some defense mechanisms for, yeah, but yeah, just know wherever the blood glows, wherever the blood glows, wherever the blood goes, whatever the blood is carrying is going to go there. So if the blood is carrying a whole bunch of vitamins and nutrients and herbs from the website and bitters and mosses and all that, there's that. And if it's carrying, your cigarette blunt wrap, Ciroc from last night, there's that too, right? All right. Daily iron purge protocol, breath-led movement, which moves the iron via the lymphatic system in the sweat. Polyphenols, right? So we're talking about our plant matter, right? Curcumin, quercetin, bind iron and reduce oxidation. Sulfur-rich foods, garlic, onion, cruciferous vegetables, right? To make sure you pump up the glutathione levels. Copper and manganese to activate your plasma and your antioxidant enzymes like superoxide dismutase or SOD, and the rest of the family that the NRF2 system activates. Fasting, autophagy, which if you follow the diet plan where you only eat 7 hours a day, you should be fine. Deep sleep, so that we get to that glymphatic system, right? So we get in that glymphatic system along with exercise. And then we get into some numbers on calories and joules, right? Calories and joules. We want to turn that fat into water, right? But the thing is, when we turn the fat into water, right? Because fat stores a lot of other things, including chemicals and toxins. So when you liquefy fat, right? When you convert fat to energy, right? When you convert fat to energy, that allows the toxins that would be stored in that fat to now be sent to the bladder or the lymphatic system, or however your body gets rid of, expels, right? So urine, sweat, whatever the case may be, but it allows it to get out of your body, right? So that's another key piece. 84% of a fat molecule leaves the body via the lungs. The rest becomes water, and then also the toxins, right? But for those of us that don't have a high toxic load, right, your body's fat turns into air and water, right? Blah, 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 blah. And I think that's about it. Yeah, I think that is about it. Okay, yeah, that is it for week 11, day 3. That is it for week 11, day 3. And for you 20 people or so that just tuned in, you probably missed the first hour. Yeah, most of that hour was good information. Most of that hour was good information. Yeah, most of that hour was good information. But that is it for week 11, day 3. Let me see what else we got for you today. I think I might do another class tonight. We might be in the 2-a-day space. We might be in the 2-a-day space. I might do a late class. Even if I go over the size page, I might go over the size page But I definitely might do a late class tonight. Questions? No questions? I have answers if you have questions. So it's bedtime in the UK. Shout out to the UK. Shout out to the UK. Y'all know it's always new music, right?
So let's be clear. He was like, remember I said this.
We have 138 songs over here. I'm not sure if y'all heard this one yet.
It's a hive dream, a vibe thing. They living on the live stream. Yeah. On the writer subscribe thing. Yeah. Living on the live stream. Yeah. A dead over live scheme. Afterlife of the live stream. Peasants turn tracking. Live on the live stream. Resurrect the brain dead. Ghost in a bandwidth. Eyes on the lens, but the heart's where the scam lives. Cold crack algorithms in the snake pit. Clickbait, halos, angels in the fake fit. Soul auction, pixels in the gavel sound. Tears in the comments, drowning in it.
Yo, how many people like the lyrics? I think people like the lyrics better than the videos. So some of these, depending on the song, I have videos and I have lyrics.
It's a hive dream.
So yeah, this one I have lyrics for it too. So you could catch the bars. Yeah, the bars are important.
A vibe thing. It's a hive dream. A vibe thing. They living on the live stream. Yeah. On the writer subscribe thing. Yeah. Living on the live stream. Yeah. A dead over live scheme. Afterlife of the live stream. Peasants turn tracking. Live on the live stream. Resurrect the brain dead. Ghost in a bandwidth. Eyes on the lens, but the heart's where the scam lives. Cold crack algorithms in the snake pit. Clickbait, halos, angels in the fake fit. Soul auction, pixels in the gavel sound. Tears in the comments, drowning in the caption now. Timeline bleeding, edges start to fray. Light spring dry, but the streams never stray. Windows to the soul, getting cold off the live stream. Shadows in the glow, every scroll like a pipe dream. It's a high dream, the vibe thing. They living on the live stream. Oh, oh, oh. On a rider subscribe thing. Living on a live stream. You behind the screen, it ain't perfect as it seems. That pipe dream, just a pipe of dopamine steam. Chase the clout thing, doing the crowd thing. Filter every moment to prove they bout things. Fake vegans that eat meat, couples coaches that cheat. Purchase his body and it's not coincidental. The mansion Airbnb, the car, a rental. Real estate gurus is wild too. They don't sell real estate, they sell the how to. Yo, yeah, the priest top of the list. Studying Satan, teaching gods don't exist. They don't teach they slaves to articles. Trying to teach him about waves and particles. Off the wall like MJ, get it. I'm still plugged into the Bronx and Philly still is really real. But this is my Achilles heel. Oath to God to provide hope to the hopeless squad. Patience unlimited like Oprah card. Africans teaching blacks there's no African science. The God of water about to clash with the titans. They bash what I'm writing. They ain't half as exciting, half as enlightened. My ghost spell got the glyphs reciting. Speaking for themselves, they made pictures out of sign. Stories out of pictures, and y'all let these people turn etchers into niggas. God is music, it's hard to get. Why the music industry had to die for God to live? God is music, it's hard to get. It's a hard ring, rob thing, living on the last strip. When I got us subscribed to me. Tribe king, live on a live stream. It's a hard dream. They living on the live stream. Underwriters subscribing. Living on a live stream. Windows to the soul, getting cold off the live stream. Shadows in the glow, every scroll like a pipe dream. Windows to the soul, getting cold off the live stream. They supposed to high beam, my advice of live stream. He said he bought houses off the live stream. Get your straight click, bait, wasting your live stream. Timelines should age like fine wine off the live stream. Lifetime, confined to your timeline on the live stream. We got them sick on the live stream. Healed them on the live stream, killed them on the live stream. Rebuild them on the live stream. He said he bought houses off the live stream. Pros on the live stream. Real lives matter is a movement off the live stream. Heal lives faster if you do it off the live stream. Trading love in your lifetime for likes on the timeline. That pipe dream, a nice dream. It's like getting healthy, only eating ice cream. No need to read, they got AI on the live stream. I said if you don't study it, man, up off the live stream. Your brain waves won't stand up off the live stream. High paid slaves getting rich on the live stream. Inspiring free souls to switch on the live stream. Pastor type living a faster life on the live stream. When the live stream ends, they in the afterlife off the live stream. Dead on arrival off the live stream. It's a high dream, a vibe thing. They living on the live stream. Underwriter subscribing. Living on the live stream. The dead or alive scheme. Afterlife off the live stream. Peasants from tribe king. Live on the live stream. Yeah.
I think that's just because y'all got the lyrics on that one. I think when you get the lyrics, it make a difference because you can see what I'm saying or what the song is about. Let me see. Yeah, here goes something else with the lyrics. Let me see. Let's go with. Let me see. Let's go with
Pages stack like bricks, towers of my mind. Ink bleeds wisdom, time after time. Most health books, yeah, they call me the king. No one pen more chapters, hear the echoes ring. Fingers to the keys, build a legacy. Lonely nights, just a grinding me. Lay like flicker, shadow on the wall. Ideas immortal, standing 10 feet tall. Living legend, you are what you think. Pouring truth in the pages I ink. Living legend, a mirror Shelf space crowded, spines with my name. Every title whispers, stay in a game. Knowledge runs deep, veins full of gold. Teaching the masses the stories retold. Most published hell teacher, they read my scrolls. Lessons eternal, they feed our souls. Built an empire with paper and pen. Flipping through my past, I do it again. Living legend, you are what you think. Pouring truth in the pages I ink. Living legend, a mirror, a link. Health in the mind, forever in sync. Source material for the kinetic wave function. A bigger discovery than brain function. Quantum mechanics and kinetic cosmology. Put the icon in iconography. Smash the wall between religion and science. To act of defiance against institutional tyrants. But Kim didn't have the equations. See, that's why we must thank all Masons. Passing down the tradition philosophically. All equations are derived from geometry. We don't need the numbers, we had the shapes. The pyramids hit pound for pound, we had the weights. Hey, living legend, you are what you think. Pouring truth in the pages I ink. Living legend, a mirror, a link. Health in the mind, forever in stacking bricks, calculus and algebra. More than nostalgia, bruh. Accurate reckoning for inquiring into things and for knowing all that exists for kings. Sound cocky till you realize the wave. Mathematical papyrus, medicine to the slave, a mentally free pill. Limitless free will, have you feeling yourself like an E-pill. Use this book to fight your professors. Force them to rewrite history, debunking their lectures. Cyclic energy, matter conversion. Field emergence, taught as a person. Propagating luminous motion. Transmission through horrors, hosting a light ocean. Living legend, you are what you think. Pouring truth in the pages I ink. Living legend, a mirror, a link. Health in the mind, forever in sync. Hey, field-based physics. The books say what is it? A legendary new discovery that defies all critiques. The doctor with the goatee need a Nobel Prize for fundamentally reshaping how we see our lives in the era of equations and Kindle. This discovery takes us back to books and symbols. Source material for the kinetic wave function. Redefine the lineage of knowledge assumption. Human didn't teach mythology. Human theology created quantum physiology. Living legend, you are what you think. Pouring truth in the pages I ink. Living legend, a mirror, a link. Health in the mind, forever. For the long war, to write books and do songs for the most talented, conduct the encore. God is music. Yeah, octave is the quantum field. Kepler is a musician when you think Jesus was fishing. Fishing in none is bigger than pun. Get it? Fishing in none is bigger than pun. A good scarab swam in the ocean without the science. Christians don't know what they promoting, what they holding, what they defending. The truth, beginning and ending. Test me, I ain't bluffing. I'm the source material on the kinetic wave function. Living legend, you are what you think. Pouring truth in the pages I ink. Living legend, a mirror, a link. Health in the mind, forever in sync. Pages stack like bricks, towers of my mind. Ink bleeds wisdom, time after time. Most health books, yeah, they call me the king. No one penned more chapters, hear the echoes ring. Fingers to the keys, built a legacy. Lonely night, just a grounding me. Daylight flicker, shadow on the wall. Ideas immortal, standing 10 feet tall. Living legend, you are what you think. Pouring truth in the pages I ink. Living legend, a mirror, a link. Health in the mind, forever in sync. Shelf space crowded, spines with my nine. Spines with my nine. Scarab spins truth where the cosmos collide. Energy whispers, it never says goodbye. The Beatles crawl, the Beatles rise. A wave becomes a particle, a sphere holds the flame. Disorder bursts the chaos, yet the chaos rise. My name, Beatles, 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 over and over, spinning the world in the grip of their shoulders. Beatles, 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 under and over, rolling through time till the blackness is sober. The heat fades lower, the order begins. The stillness so perfect, it hums from within. The void sings softly, entropy takes a bow. In the shadow of silence, the scarab knows how. The second law is dancing, feeding life through decay. The third law holds the promise that the stillness will stay. Beatles, 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 under and over, rolling through time till the blackness is sober. Beatles, Beatles, Beatles.
Yeah, none in the dark, side everywhere. Kept her on the move ever, that's still forever. Side in the sky, I don't sleep, I isolate. Rise the wave, I don't age, I propagate. Kept her push the peg, let the light reincarnate. Feel to the form, yeah, the state change, demonstrate. Side in the sky, yeah, the state never static. Collapse when I touch, then the form get automatic. From the dark to the dawn, from the void to matter. Wave turn body up, body turn shatter. I'm the function in the dark, all the states inside me. A path, every form, every fate beside me. Before you see a thing, I'm already spread. Probability king, I be living in the spread. I don't move like a body, I exist like a field. Every option in me, I ain't locked to it's real. Till the boundary hit, till the atom get bold. Then I snap to a value, now the story get told. They say light just travel, I say nah, I decide. When the walls show up, that's when I divide right side. Yeah, I feel all space to the system demand. I collapse to a face, from the dew to the dawn. I be phase on phase, superposed in the dark with infinite rays. They worship the disc, but they miss the truth. I ain't just what you see, I'm the unseen proof. Aside in the sky, I don't sleep, I isolate. Rise the wave, I don't age, I propagate. Keep her push the back, let the light reincarnate. From the to the form, yeah, the state change, demonstrate. Side in the sky, yeah, the state never static. I collapse when I touch, then the phone get automatic. From the dark to the dawn, from the void to the matter. Wave turn body, then the body turn shatter. I'm the bump in the field, yeah, I move with the sun. Localized in the noise, I'm the chosen one. All that spreading raw, I'm the piece that advance. I'm the packet that ride when the function collapse. Roll the disc like a charge on the face of the dawn. From the ripple of none, I be physically born. Wave was everywhere, now it move like me. From infinite haze to a certainty, I carry the energy, not the whole map. I'm the moment it manifests, now I got a path. Bring your staff, music and stick. It don't mean it. I still gotta hear from the superposition to the single display. Keep on pushing light through the edge of the day. When the boundary hit, that's when I exist. When the mirror show up, that's when I persist. I don't rule the field, I just surf the face till the sun get reset and I rise again. Green skin in the field, Osiris on lock. Downstate matter, but he need that ride shot. Photon hit leaf now, the electron jump. Wave from the sky, make the sugar plump. Rise the wave, make the charge relocate. Kepper in a chain, make the packet translate. Yeah. Osiris, take the light, lock it into the grain. It's a raise in the roots, now I feed the whole chain. From the frequencies drop to the glucose rise. That's an underworld word that they mythologize. They call it guys, but it's physics in cloud. Wave hit molecule, now the carbon get caught. None in the background, 0, 1, 10. All the motion begin when the wave drop in. Ride don't got shape to the wash your face. Kept her only born when the field meets space. Beetlejuice, feed the grooves, we the truth. Teaching truth, the wave is Gucci. Quantum is Gucci, but we dangerous like playing Salucci. With a Uzi, it's a movie. The books and the songs is a two-piece. Rolling through the sand like a thought in disguise. The scarab spins truth where the cosmos collide. And she whispers, it never says goodbye. The beat.
This is why you have to go to Amazon and get the book, Rich Abs, Poor Abs, now.